Dear Minister, Commissioner, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for inviting me for these concluding remarks. Last Saturday, I was in the western part of my city, Rotterdam, to reopen a family company that produces special doors made from plastic to be used in supermarket as a kind of isolation doors to reduce the consumption of energy. It's a family company and it's highly working on innovation. They did that for many years and succeeded in surviving the crisis. And they continued to work with the same amount of people in the company. And they invited me to open an extension of that company. They invested a lot of money in creating new products. They invested in making a special robot to make that product. And the rest of the work is done by a group of 170 disabled people in the city of Rotterdam. A highly innovative product with a highly developed robot leading to low-skilled labor. That's exactly what we want in our cities. That kind of policy, that kind of stimulus will lead to another kind of working opportunities in our cities. In the 70s, when new machines were introduced in the market, there was a kind of fear among politicians that will lead to a lot of problems in the labor market. It did not. When the steam engine was introduced in Great Britain, there was a fear that would lead to a lot of problems in the labor market. It did not. We're now entering the third industrial revolution, and this kind of innovation will be, I think, the future in Europe to lead to more wealth and more working opportunities. Ladies and gentlemen, I visit a lot of companies in the port of Rotterdam every week. This was one single example. I can give you more examples. So indeed, Benjamin Barber is right. Who is in the lead? National governments, cities, or Brussels? I think that I dare to say that cities and citizens are in the lead. So there's not a scandal if that happens. It's not a scandal to Europe to accept that that is a fact. It's good to accept that as a matter of fact and to try to support all those people involved in this innovation to do that work. Together with 23 mayors, as the chairman of the metropolitan region, The Hague and Rotterdam, we're working on an innovation program for the coming 10 years. That's a highly innovative approach because we're not waiting that a national government is coming with a national economic policy and that we will be the cities to request for little money to do that. We come up with our own plans. Together with the industry and all the other involved public and commercial bodies, I will say to national government, this is our concept. Do you like it? If you like it, join us. And with the same proposal, we'll go to Brussels and we'll say, this is our concept. Do you like it? Be our partner. And I think a kind of a bottom-up approach is very interesting. Well, nowadays, we're involved in debating how to provide housing for asylum seekers, and I really follow the results of what's going in Berlin, and will be your guest at the end of July as tourists just to see your beautiful city. And your efforts to bring all these people under a certain roof is a major effort. And I would like to give the city of Berlin an applause for that. Please do that. So all of us are involved in that complicated issues, how to deal with these new citizens. We see them as asylum seekers, but in fact, they are our citizens. And there is a notion nowadays in political Europe that we have to defend what we have, and to be aware that not others are coming to tackle our wealth and our prosperity. Very interesting notions. I'm not going to criticize them, but I miss a very critical note in that debate, and that's also that we have also a wonderful tradition in Europe, not only of defending and having, but also the notion of dividing. And the way we did that in Europe was really supportive for a lot of countries. We have seen how countries like Spain, Portugal, Italy, and nowadays Poland and all the other new friends in Europe are going to develop thanks to the notion of sharing, of solidarity in Europe. And if we do the same with our newest citizens, I will be really giving you the assurance that there will be a better Europe than instead of only defending and having what we have, a notion of sharing. It's not for the cities only important, it's for our common goals in Europe. Nowadays, this suit, ladies and gentlemen, is made in Morocco. I have a wonderful friend there who makes this wonderful suit. Within a couple of years, I will enter a studio in Rotterdam. Someone is coming to make a 3D scan of my body. I will use a machine to select the kind of tissue I want, and the 3D print machine will start printing my suit. I'm not mistaken. Printing. Printing. The right word. The same we will do with bicycles. And the first 3D printing machine for metal will be installed with the coming weeks in the city of Rotterdam, will be the second after Singapore. Complete parts of cars will be printed. What consequences will that have for the competition elsewhere in Europe? Who knows that? We're working in Rotterdam on the notion of energy, saving energy, retrofitting buildings, but also to move towards another kind of energy consumption, energy of production. But do you think if I change the machine in my home that is producing hot water with another one that produces not only hot water but also electricity? And if I combine that with some solar systems and some batteries, connect them with my electrical car, do we need power plants? Do I give the answer? I think fascinating future. All that, ladies and gentlemen, happens in cities. All that innovation happens in cities. You go to the city for your hospital. You go to the city for your philharmonic. You go to the city for university. You go to the city for what else? And we still do not have a European Commissioner for Urban Policy in Europe. What's fascinating? If that is important for Europe, come on, ladies and gentlemen, next formation, a European Commissioner for Urban Policy. And then there is a lot of criticism about that citizens in a lot of countries in Europe are saying, well, thank you, Europe. Please stop more Europe. We don't want more Europe. And I think that I can understand, as mayor on local level, that criticism. It has nothing to do with people dislike Europe. But I think that a lot of citizens in Europe simply say no because we did not succeed in making a Europe for citizens. We created a wonderful common market. We're working on a common market for decades. Containers fleet through Europe from north to south, from my port to Algeciras in Spain. Capital. If you want to send $1 billion a day now from Amsterdam to Berlin, it's like that. It happens. But if you live in a border area between the Netherlands and Germany, or between France and Spain, it's a drama to get your kids to education, to build up your pension system, to build up your healthcare system, and so on. It has nothing to do with federalism. It has to do with a lack of the will in Europe to work together to build a Europe for citizens. If I go on holiday to Spain, when I go to Spain on holiday and I become sick, then I will rely on my travel insurance, not on my national insurance policy. And then I have to pay more. Why, if it is a common Europe? Why, if it is a common Europe? Answer that question. If you want to move to Spain, you will find a lot of problems. A container doesn't mean no problems at all. That container is not checked anymore after having been checked in my port. It goes through all Europe. Nobody checked it. Now, I think if we really want to store credibility in Europe, then we have the next decades to work on an agenda for citizens. And if we don't succeed in doing that, I think there will be a lot of initiatives like Brexit. And someone last week told me, you can come with a gimmick as mayor of Rotterdam to go to London City and have a sandwich board on your body telling all these big financial institutions, if you leave Europe, Rotterdam is 1,000 kilometers from here. Just to demonstrate that the move of financial market in Europe can be easy as you may imagine. But the flow of citizens is very complicated. So within the agenda for the cities and within the urban agenda, it's really important in the future that our parliaments in Europe, our European Commission, but also our member state policy really will be focusing on the important things that are for the citizens, like really a big social agenda. And my Europe, ladies and gentlemen, is a Europe without people sleeping on the streets. My Europe is a Europe where all citizens, whatever their race is, have equal opportunities. We nowadays seem to think we have similar opportunities, but that's not the case. There is still a gap when it comes to equality in Europe. Your descent, your color, where you've been born is always dictating a bit of your future. If you are born in a rich family, your chances are different than we are born in a very poor family. And a lot of politicians talk about poverty. I do that too. The difference is I know what it is. A lot of others have no notion of what it is. So sleeping on the streets is, to me, a minimum standard of civilization. If we continue to do that in Europe, and we accept that it's a common thing, we have to accept that, to me, that's really the minimum of civilization. Europe and urban policy is also about that, creating a notion of minimum level of civilization and minimum level of dignity, a Europe of citizens. If we do not succeed in creating a Europe of citizens, we failed in creating a common, safe future. Thank you.